All right, guys, welcome to the 10 a.m. Um, Elite Push Group. Guys, I'm excited about today's call. We're going to have Elite Coach Ashley Locklin, filling us full of knowledge today. But before I jump into that and turn it over to Ashley and have her introduce herself to us a little bit more, just wanted to hit on some critical aspects of the business. Hopefully, I'm sounding like a broken record already when I'm bringing up the sample packs. We're bringing that up with our teams. Hopefully we've approached our teams many times about the sample packs in regards to, hey, how do we talk about products that we've never tried before? So let's get on there. Let's try Hydrate. Let's try Recover and Energize and all of these other different products, okay? Also, beach bars, okay? Hopefully all of us have kind of developed a plan with our teams for the launch of the beach bars. Okay. Again, another way that we can approach it is, guys, we're all on board. How do we talk about a product we've never tried before? And hopefully, we're bringing it up in such a way that, guys, everybody eats a bar. I mean, I eat a bar, you eat a bar. Okay. Everyone eats a bar. So let's be talking about that. Have a plan. Hopefully you were all discussing that, and we're laying out that launch plan for April. Again, I just wanted to remind you guys, Success Club party for Summit. Okay, we're hitting not Elite. We have to hit Elite to get into this. No. Okay, Success Club this month and next month, okay, with a total combined of 20 Success Club points between the 2 months. So make sure that we are on top of that with our team members who are wanting to get to that Success Club party. Other than that, I am so pumped about today's call with Ashley. I'm going to have Ashley introduce herself a little bit more to us because we have Northeast and Southeast coaches on the call now. So, Ashley, take it away. Tell us a little bit about you. Just tell us more about your family a little bit, and let's dive into this elite conversation of what it takes, so to say.
Thank you. Hey, everyone. So excited to be here. I have been a coach for 3 years, and I was a full-time teacher before this. I was a high school English teacher, and I was a customer first. I started a challenge group. I started with PIO right when it came out, and I fell in love. And for 6 months, I was a coach, a customer, and I was stalking coaches. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so intrigued by their lifestyle. My coach never really presented the business opportunity to me. And so finally I was like, tell me about this. And I started just as a hobby, but within 1 week of coaching, I was like, oh my gosh, like my job is basically communist China compared to the freedom that Beachbody could give me. So I quickly transitioned from a hobby coach to like, I'm all in. And so last year was my first year after 2 years of when I first started coaching. I was working full-time. I was going to grad school full-time. I was pregnant. Then I had a newborn, and then we moved. So I was really just building the business in the cracks of my time. 2017 was my first year as a full-time coach. I was able to quit my job at the end of 2016. And 2017 was the year that like my business blew up because I had more time to devote to it. And so now here I am. My daughter is at home with me, and that's why I was a little bit late trying to get her entertained. So you will probably see her at some point in this call. Is that all, Robbie?
No, that's perfect. I mean, hey, and plus, by the way, that's what Beachbody is all about, man. We want to see the kids running into the background, and I love it. But Ashley, thank you so much for introducing yourself to us. Tell us a little about your background and teaching and all of that. So let's dive into it. Hopefully we can start a good discussion. If people have questions, we can kind of just jump in and kind of pick your mind apart, and hopefully you're okay with that. You're all, no,
yeah.
That's not what I came prepared to do. No, we're just excited to have you on the call. Let's jump into this topic. What do you have for us, and how can we help you, so to say, lead this discussion today?
Okay, so I really want to talk about being a storyteller. I think that is my wheelhouse. That is what brings me all of my people and all of my success. And I think that it's kind of a craft you have to develop and hone in over time. But I want to share some of the things that I do to help me share stories. I don't have to do a lot of inviting. You know, all of these people truly come to me because I am so open and vulnerable, and I tell stories that people are like, oh my God, that's me. Literally every day I get messages being like, girl, everything you say is my life, right? So I am really getting in other people's heads, and that is where my success comes from. And then when I do send invites, the first thing they do is they go to my page and they're like, oh, okay, I really relate to this girl. So I think storytelling is my passion and is my wheelhouse where my success comes from. So I wanted to talk about that, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's dive into telling stories and how we can draw people in. I like it.
Yeah. Okay. So I think so I got into a little rut recently where I was just like, post about workout, post about coaching, post about workout, post about coaching. And I was sharing some stories in there, but I kind of just got into that rut. And then the Facebook algorithm changed and I was like, oh shit, I got to change things up. And that really kind of brought me back to, oh my gosh, like I need to be shit selling me. What you have to remember is that people buy into you long before they buy into any products that you are trying to sell them. So I think about on Instagram and on Facebook, there are certain bloggers and women that I follow. And for example, the curling wand I used to curl my hair today, a girl on Instagram posted that's what she used just in a tutorial. She wasn't selling it, but I was like, buy it. Another girl was like, here's the eyeshadow that I used. I was on Sephora's website that day buying it because I love those people. I buy into them. And then when they share what they're using, I'm like, I have to have that in my life. So that's the approach that I take is I never, ever, ever mention Beachbody, Shakeology, Energize, anything. People don't know I'm associated with Beachbody. They just think I am like inspiring and helping people. And then when I get to talking to them, then I say, oh, like I'm with Beachbody. And they're like, oh, okay. So I don't get a lot of pushback with that. The second thing is you have to remember that people buy into your joy. So if you are not representing yourself as this amazingly happy, upbeat, positive person, you're driving your business down. So the things these are examples. So Anita Myron shared with me on a call she did, that when she started coaching, she was in a really dark place. And she saw her coach, Leslie, every day showing up and being so excited and so happy. And Anita was like, I don't know what this girl is doing, but I need it in my life, right? So I think about that every day. For those people out there who are in a dark place or who have lost their passion, who feel stuck, I want them to see me every day and say, I don't know what she's doing, but I need that in my life. And that's literally the kind of messages that I get. So let's talk about your specific story. So I'm not going to get into like what an avatar is. I would assume you know that, but you have to be crystal clear on your avatar and you have to be crystal clear on pain points and pleasure points. And I'm going to explain those in a little bit more detail in just a second. But so I know there are men on here and, but I'm going to really kind of say that like, this could apply to you as well, but women make choices, they make decisions, they make purchases based on emotional triggers. They are emotionally driven. So if you are not triggering their emotions, you are not going to get people to sign up or tell you that they're interested. So for example, you don't want to say, hey, I have a new group starting for anyone who wants to get fit for summer. That's just too vague in general. You want to hit home. So for me, I would share the story of how I never would get off my beach chair in the summer if I didn't have a towel wrapped around me. I never let people see me in a vertical position, never ever standing up in a bathing suit. I never would let people walk behind me. I would never go to a public pool or never go to a water park. Right? Because I was so self-conscious of my legs and my butt and my cellulite and my stomach. And the summer should be a fun time, but it was always a time of anxiety for me. So that is a story I would tell. And then women would be like, you know what? That's me. I'm just like you. Right. And then I'd say, okay, let's go to the pool with our kids this summer. Let's not be worried about what we look like. So that emotional trigger is going to hit people in their hearts and say, oh my gosh, like I need that. Yes, I get you. So you just want to try to really focus on what your avatar is struggling with and what you have struggled with in the past. So pain points and pleasure points. If you were like, I don't know what to share, right? I just am like too general. I have a little activity for you to do. this is my struggle web. This is part of it. I have like 5 papers like this. And so these are just all struggles that I have identified in my life that I've overcome, that I'm still struggling with. So down here is thighs. I have like a whole cluster of thighs, okay? Because I've always been self-conscious about my thighs. And this post did really, really, really well last week, I think it was. So I shared a story of how when I was in school, I would always look at everyone else's thighs and how much they spread out across the chair. And then I would look at mine and they'd be like falling over the side and I would be so embarrassed. Every time I got in the car with someone, I'd look to see like how much their thighs spread across their driver's seat. And I can't tell you, and I didn't even have a call to action with that post. It was just like, I'm so strong and blah, blah, blah. I'm happy about my thighs now, but I spent all these years hating them. I didn't have a call to action, but my inbox blew up with people being like, that is me. Oh my gosh. Like, how did you like finally get your thighs to be what you wanted them to be? That's exactly my life, etc. So these are all like stories about my thighs. This is family, like family things that I've overcome. Professional teaching things. So another post that I recently did was on how I always wanted to be a teacher, and I used to dream of the day I had my own overhead projector, which they don't even use anymore, and I wanted chalk on my pants and all that good stuff. And then as soon as I got that job, I like didn't want it anymore. Like, I was too stressful. I wanted to be at home. I wanted to be with my daughter, and so that resonated with so many teachers. I got so many messages from teachers that day. They were like, that's me. So you have to share those very specific stories. Not just, oh, I was a teacher and now I'm a coach. What specific memories do you have that other people are going to be like, oh my gosh, me too, you're in my head. So these are struggles. Every week I sit down and I add to this and I think, okay, what can I share this week that I haven't shared in a few weeks to hit home with some different people? But on the flip side, I have pleasure points. So these are all the benefits that I experience as a coach now or from our challenge groups. So over here I have coaching. These are like all amazing things that I've experienced with coaching. Finances, my body, traveling, my passion. So these are all different little pleasure points. So I am asking myself every day. So before I make a post, here's what I say. If I was my avatar and I came across this post on my feed, would I say, so what? Like, why did she post this? Who cares? Or would I say, what's in it for me? Like, okay, great. I'm glad you have this great life and blah, blah. Well, what's in it for me, right? So if people are going to read your post and say, so what? Who cares? What's in it for me? It doesn't matter. They don't care about it. But if you are sharing a specific story that people are like, oh my gosh, that's me, and I see how you've gone from point A to point B, I always paint the picture of how life was and now how life is, or how I'm working to make life a certain way. So, right, I'm trying to retire my husband now, and I'm sharing that. Like, we're on this journey of doing this. So I'm not at that goal yet, but I'm painting that picture to show people what is possible, where I'm going. So I am always asking myself, if my
Did she just cut out on everyone else? I was just making sure. I was like, I hope that I'm not the
avatar would she resonate with this? Mostly share one little strategy I have is between stories versus posts, like Facebook stories, Insta stories, and actual posts. So my strategy is the posts that I make on Instagram and Facebook are like my $1 million ads. I think of Fabletics and Lululemon before I take that picture, write that post, edit it, and I make sure that it is really well done, that it fits with my theme, it fits my lifestyle, it's engaging, that people would be like, oh, like that's really cute, or you're so happy, or I love that outfit, whatever. I stop people scroll with that post. But then my stories are like the real life behind the scenes action where I'm super real, I'm super me, I'm always showing myself, without makeup, looking a hot mess. And that's where people can connect with me on that deeper level. And I'm sharing more of those actual stories in my stories. So I hook people initially with like the $1 million post, and then I encourage them to watch my stories and learn more about me. So if you are not telling stories, you are not connecting with your avatar, you're being too general. If you're not triggering those emotional responses, you are not going to be successful. And if you're not doing live video and you're not doing stories, then you're really doing yourself a disservice, because right now people want to be able to see you, to hear you, to get a feel for you, to see your flavor and your vibe. and know who you are. And when they connect with you on that deeper level, that's when they're going to buy something from you or they're going to join you. So, okay, Rob, was that, what questions do you have? What do you want me to elaborate on?
Hey, no, I love it. I think storytelling is a critical aspect of the business. And so I was going to actually ask you, like when you are teaching your team or when you're going into a post and telling a story, do your stories typically have commonalities?
What do you mean?
What do they have in common? Like, do they all, like, obviously they all trigger an emotional response. Okay. They have a call to action and there's a hook in there. I mean, is there something that you say like all the time with every single story, or do you think it like, does it change from post to post? I mean, like, I'm just seeing if you have any commonalities with each of your posts that you do.
No, they change. So my coaching posts are always starts with a hook, shares a story of what life was like, now what life is like, and then I'm looking for new girls to join me, and here's a link to my info group. So I typically will have 3 coaching calls to action posts like that every single week. Typically it's Sunday, Monday, and then a Thursday or Friday. I will have a coaching post just like that, same exact format every time. And I always try to embed a question in there somewhere to get engagement up. And then my workout posts every day always share a story of like what I used to struggle with or what happened during that workout. So every workout isn't just like, here's my workout of the day. Did you do your workout? It's like, oh my gosh, I started this workout, and then I tell a story, and then I have a question in there and people are laughing. And I always try to entertain. My audience loves humor. I mean, anytime I post something funny, it outperforms all my other posts by like 16 times. So I always will try to do something funny. And I'm also strategic about that. So like last night I posted something funny, and right before it and right after it, I posted a coaching post with calls to action, because I want people to be drawn to my page and see that funny post and then scroll either direction and see like, oh, she's a coach. Oh, look at this life she's created, etc. So I'm always strategic about embedding funny things with like important things with calls to action.
Love that. And I actually have one more question, and then we'll open it up to everyone else. With your coaches, if they're struggling with, what to come up with, or like any kind of post, or if they're just struggling to post in general, like how do you kind of get them out of that shell or that bubble to kind of, hey, like people are waiting for you to share their story with them. Like how do you get them to do that?
Yeah. So I always tell them, okay, sit down and make a list or do this web. So I always have them do this web of what they've struggled with, what they're struggling with, and then the benefits of coaching. And I always have them make 3 categories. So financial, obviously, what financial benefits have you noticed? Even if it's you've only earned $14, that's more than you had. And it's so funny that as new coaches, we're like, oh, I haven't made enough money yet. I can't talk about the income. And then when you do make an income, you're like, I can't talk about this because people won't believe it. It's too much. Like, so then you go back to sharing, like, this is what I made in my first month as a coach. So no matter what you're earning now, like you have to put it into terms that people will understand and resonate with. So I always say financial benefits, emotional benefits, as this reignited your passion? Have you found your best friends? What has personal development done for you? Has it gotten you out of your shell? And then obviously the physical benefits. So for me, it's what keeps me accountable. I don't really like exercising. I hate it. I only do it because like I'm a coach and I have to do it, and I've had this transformation. So I share that all the time, that like I'm not a fitness freak. I don't love fitness. I just do it because it's a daily discipline. So coaching is what keeps me on track. So I always say financial, emotional, and physical benefits. Brainstorm what you have noticed in each of those categories, and every week try to touch on some of those.
Boom. That's like dropping the mic right there. That's how you do it. I know, I love it. Guys, I want to open it up for questions that you guys have for Ashley, any business related questions, or in regards to telling stories. Would love to hear your guys' questions and what you have for Ashley. I'll open it up for questions now. So feel free to just jump in or chat it, whatever you guys have. While we're waiting, Ashley, this question just actually popped in my head. This is just a business general related questions, like on cold invites. I mean, is there typically something that you try to go and find a commonality with someone with on their page, or like how do you typically invite on a cold invite?
Yeah. So right now I'm like so I've built all of my business on my Facebook like page. Now I'm like heavy on Instagram and I'm cold inviting like crazy. So I do it all at once. I know that there are different systems. I am personally like a red, ruby, D personality. So I'm straight to the point. And I don't have time to like create a funnel and like follow up with people, like follow them for weeks and then invite them. So when I go to their page, I look for like girl moms because I have a daughter. I look for women who post like really cute pictures of their daughters with bows in their hair, like that. I look for that kind of stuff. And then I comment on at least 10 of their photos. Like I blow them up. And then I comment on some of their stories and then I direct message them. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I just blew up your notifications. I found your page and I love your vibe. I love your daughter's bows or dress. Where do you get them? And are you a coach too? Like I learned that I think from Haley Christian. She's like, are you a coach too? And so that's what I say. And usually they're like, and I say lifestyle coach. I brand myself as a lifestyle coach because I don't just teach people about health and fitness. I'm teaching them about a whole bunch of stuff. And so then they're like, lifestyle coach, I've never heard of that. What is it? And like, no worries, I'm blowing up my notifications. I love the love. So then we just start that conversation and I'm like, oh, I have an info group I'd love to add you to because you would be like the perfect fit. So that's how I do that.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you for doing that, for answering that question for me. Looks like we've had a few questions kind of pop in. I don't know if you want to jump on there and read them, or do you want me to read them to you?
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So my social media plan is weekly. What I actually do is on the weekends, I take a bunch of photos when my husband's around and he can help us. So I don't follow any Beachbody coaches. So even my own coaches, and this is probably terrible to say, but they'll be like, hey, can you give me feedback on my posts? And I'm like, well, let me go check them out. I have like blinders on because as soon as I start to look at other people's posts, I'm like, oh my God, they're better than me. I need to do this. And then I try to act like them, write like them, and then it just flops. So I like to follow non-Beachbody coaches and I get inspiration from them. So these women that I'm like stalking on Instagram, when I take screenshots of the photos that I really like, and then I'll try to kind of get inspiration, recreate those on the weekend. So my husband and my daughter and I, we have like a photo shoot every weekend, and then I pre-write a lot of my content. So the posts that I make, I have a plan. This is what I'm posting on Monday, and here's what I'm writing. Here's what I'm posting on Tuesday, and here's what I'm writing. Here's what I'm posting on Thursday, and here's what I'm going to write with it. So then that day I wake up and I just copy and paste it. I don't worry about like, oh my gosh, I have to take a picture, I have to write something. So the weekend I spend a little extra time preparing that. And then my photos, I have recently been like super focused on creating that theme. So I try to like make sure there's pink or white in every photo and that it has like a white background and that kind of stuff. So I think that level of professionalism also helps a lot too. I think, yeah, it's great to be real and raw, especially on stories, but what you put out there, you want to come off as professional.
Love that. Go ahead, Ashley.
Susan. Yeah, I don't do a lot of inviting. So when people come to me and they say like, I'm interested, so pretty much every single day I have a call to action to either join a challenge group or to join the coaching opportunity every day, sometimes 2 calls to action a day. So I'm always getting people to like fill out an application to join a challenge group or join an info group. And when they find it's Beachbody, they don't run. Most of the people I'm targeting don't even know about Beachbody. They like have no idea. So I don't get a lot of pushback there. And if they do, I haven't had anybody be like, oh, this is Beachbody, I don't want to do it. So specifically with challengers, they are like, oh yeah, I've done 21 Day Fix. I'd love to do like something else with you. And then coaches, the people who learn about coaching and then say no, it's mainly because they say they don't have the time, even though I go over that excuse. But I don't try to convince people to do this, and I say this in my sneak peek groups. Like, I'm not here to convince you, but if you don't see this opportunity for what it is, then I don't want you. I'm like super blunt. And so that kind of weeds people out. And then I really only get the go-getters, which is what I want.
I love that. I'm going to hit on that just here for a second. Not sounding desperate in your invites. I think that's something critical that as coaches, we tend to come off desperate at times. And so making sure that you're coming off confident and having boldness with your invites versus, hey, I need you versus I would like to have you if you see this as an opportunity. Love that. Thanks for sharing that, Ashley.
Yeah, I definitely address all of the worries and the misconceptions and the fears. So even after they hear that, if they still come at me with those, I'm just like, okay, well, maybe this isn't your time. Maybe you'll come back around. I don't worry too much about them. I just always keep so many people in my pipeline that I'm never like, oh my God, I need this person to sign up. And then, yes, I do have coaches do their webs right away. I'm always talking about it, so they do it right away. And then I do not post on my personal page. I only post coach, rank advancements, that kind of stuff on my personal page. And then in order to get engagement, you have to, some of my posts, I'll have questions that blow up, and others, I'll get like 3 responses. So you just have to keep your audience get them into the habit of responding. So I always say, instead of trying to be, I always think of this. I don't want to be a teacher at the, what's it called? That you talk at. I can't remember. At a loss for my words. I don't want to stand there and just lecture. I want to be in a circle and create a discussion. So every time I try to write a post, I try to think, how can I get people discussing? How can I get them talking to one another? And so if you get them in the habit of answering questions and sharing pictures in your posts, then they'll just, sometimes I won't even ask a question because I'm like, I don't want to have to respond to these people. I don't have time. And they'll automatically just start like responding and dropping pictures and stuff. And it's really funny how that takes off. So you just have to get them in that habit. And I think that was it, Rob.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. I'm like, I think that is the last question. But guys, honestly, Ashley, thank you so much for being here and telling us the art of storytelling and helping people to be a story maker versus a storyteller. I think that's important that people walk away from this is, something that I always think of is I remember the first time I heard Jeff Hill's XO story. I don't know how many of you guys have heard the XO story where leave your mark, so to say. Guys, from this call, take these, share them with your team. Let's make sure that we are not only creating emotion with our posts, but we're creating an action. We're creating that hook so that people are buying into you. And so that's that was like my biggest takeaway from Ashley today. So thank you guys for being here. I will post the recording on the Elite Push group. And for those that you guys have questions, you go ahead and post them below too. And I'll try to help Ashley go and answer some of these questions that you have if you guys have any more. And then I will see you next week, same time, guys. All right, Ashley, thank you so much.
Thank you.